I'm ready.
Okay. There we go.
Is there a theme song or something?
There we go. Okay. It gets more complicated every day. Okay. But I think that'll be on in a second here. And I think that you're going to be on. You can probably see yourself in the corner. Okay. And Robin, try again, Robin. Try again, Robin. Okay. This is funny. Okay. I'm gonna... Boom, boom, boom. Okay, I want to take Robin. Robin's seen this. Okay. Okay. Oh, there's all kind of moving... There's too many moving parts to this thing. Okay. I'm gonna... Hi. David, I think I'm gonna start the show. What do you think? Okay, let's start the show. And okay, let's pretend that this is just starting now, okay? Just start. Here we go. And I know that I sound okay because I hear myself finally. Wow, I got everything here, man, including buddies. This is cool. Thank you for inviting. Thank you for inviting me into your camper in Tennessee. Thank you for inviting me to your cabin in Wisconsin. Thank you for inviting me into your home. Thank you for inviting me into the bathroom. I don't want to be in the bathroom, but thank you for inviting me there. My name's Dave.
You from the bathroom?
I'm okay. Yes, people are talking to me from the bathroom. I have this NSA thing, and it's a magic mirror thing that I could actually see who's watching me. Okay, and through this magic mirror, I could like tell and see who's on there. And I see Jim, and I see Anna, and I see Christine, and I see all kind of people. Anyways, thanks for joining me tonight. I got a really bizarre show. It didn't intend to be this bizarre. It makes me want to drink, and I hope Sheila's there to have a drink with me tonight. Maybe Robin will have a drink with me tonight. And anyways, I've had a amazing week, actually. I have seen some acts of kindness and generosity from people and from places that I never intended to see them. And it convinces me more and more that things suck right now in a lot of ways. And it convinces me more and more that we just need to work together a little bit. And we need to look at the guy next to us and say, hey, let's do something and let's help each other out. And I hope that tonight we do a little bit of relaxing, and I chill you out and I throw you out a little bit. We got Christine Swanberg on a little bit later. We got Jared Smith on a little bit later. We're going to have some special guests popping in, and I got speakerphones going on, and I have video going on, and I got a guy here waiting to go on screen, and I'm going to bring him on screen right now. And ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, David Buddha Hartgarten. Let's hear it for him.
Hi, everybody.
Let's hear it for him. Hey, David. I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here, Dave. How you doing?
I don't know. This is working bizarrely, but it is working. Actually, you can't see this, but I actually have duct tape holding some of my equipment together here. I have a 6-7-year-old.
That's a personal problem.
I know. Where's my duct tape? I had duct tape here just in case I needed to repair something. Oh, here's my duct tape. Yeah, I need this all the time. I mean, I work with a lot of ducks, and sometimes I should use this on my mouth, actually.
And apparently a lot of ducks that are falling apart.
Yes. How is the where I saw you in the poetry bomb, and I thought that was cool. I noticed
doing the poetry bomb.
one of the hardest things to do when you're doing this is to see that Robin Fine just said, "Hey, Dave," and Sheila Donovan says, "I see and hear you," and Buddha, and she says, "Oops, I don't have a drink." So it's really hard to read that and look at the camera because there's no audience there.
It is, and I would really like to, like I said, I have a friend who does like Saturday concerts from his garage on Facebook Live, and his wife actually sits there and reads the comments at him so
Mm-hmm.
he can answer them. And I didn't think about that.
Yeah, but when we're mostly solo, there's a problem with that.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
It doesn't matter though, because apparently I don't know how to tell the passage of time. I swear I only read for 10 minutes yesterday, but it turned out to be like a half an hour.
It was, and I kept on asking you to do the rock, okay? And he did the rock at the very end, and that I liked that. That was cool. I don't know. That's my.
Well, rock is my greatest hit, man. Everybody loves that poem, and you know, sometimes I feel that it's like asking the Rolling Stones to do Satisfaction. They'll do it, but they don't always wanna.
Mm-hmm. Do you find it different not being in? How is it different not being in front of a live audience?
For me, it's very different because my shows were always interactive with the audience. You know, I would when I didn't so much host as converse with people. So, you know, we would, you know, go off on tangents, and I swear I had a whole show where we did nothing but talk about Buckaroo Banzai. I swear.
Right now I'm talking to you, so it's a lot easier. But when you're talking to nothing, it's an entirely different thing. You're into the ether. You're talking into a void, and I don't know if this is going to be the future of what we're going to be doing for a while. It might be. I don't know. I find the same thing when I'm out in public. When somebody has a mask on, and I don't know if they're smiling or frowning or sticking their tongue out at me.
Which is actually one of the great things about wearing a mask. Nobody knows if I'm smiling or frowning or sticking my tongue out at them. Which the third one is probably mostly the case because I can't. I'm wearing a mask.
Do you think that we could have done more for the poetry bomb? I mean, I was disappointed because I went on Twitter and nobody tweeted. Is there something that we need to plan and do something different?
I'm not sure about the Twitter platform. I mean, you're limited to a certain number of characters, and I don't know if you can actually film yourself live on Twitter.
No, you cannot.
While I was doing Facebook Live yesterday, Stevie was shooting a piece for Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And he only did the one poem, which disappointed me a little because it's Stevie and you always want to hear more.
Yeah. Stevie has like I always thought he was a poetry stylist, where he could take any poem and make it into a Stevie poem. I mean, that's one of the great strengths that I think he has in a performer. I kind of discovered him. Actually, Dina discovered him. She dragged him into a reading that Lawrence Tyler was doing out in Blue Island, actually. And that was the first time I met Stevie.
You know, you discovered him, but Stevie and I made each other famous.
How did you make each other famous?
You know, it was weird when we started hanging out. We met at one of those big old poetry reads. I think it had to be the we used to have them every summer. What are they called?
CJ Chicago Poetry Festival. He had one in 2008, 2009.
And Stevie and I met before that, but we didn't hang out before that. And then we were both reading at the Poetry Festival in the deep sub-basement of this hotel. I think Janet had arranged it, and it was like coinciding with some kind of reporters conference.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
And I remember. Okay,
that's when Stevie and I first started hanging out.
Next week, I'm going to try to play the JJ movie. I'm saying I'm going to try to play the JJ movie because There's some music and stuff like that. And if Facebook sees something that it recognizes, the robots recognize as copyrighted, they mute you. So we'll see what happens next weekend. I got permission from the director to do it, but in that building at that time, there was a police conference, and the people who had arrested JJ were at this police conference. And I remember I ran into the director and the camera crew outside that hotel. It was like right on, I think it was on Illinois Avenue actually, or Grand Avenue, somewhere over there. Janet has some weird readings sometimes, and that was a stranger one.
Okay. The thing about JJ, and JJ and I weren't super close. We just kind of respected each other's work. The man was a hell of a writer.
Mm-hmm.
Still is, I'm sure. But, it's on some level, we should have known something was going on. I mean, if you ask people, have you met J.J. Jameson? And they respond, you mean the guy Peter Parker works for?
Anybody who really knew him knew there was something not quite right about JJ, but I didn't know that he was a double murderer, basically. I think that there was a lot of alcohol involved in that, actually.
Yeah, and in my head, that wasn't J.J. Jameson, that was Norman Porter.
Yeah.
I never met Norman Porter, I've only met J.J. Jameson.
Basically, when Norman Porter came back, J.J. Jameson disappeared. So what other poetry stuff do you have planned in the future?
I don't know yet. I'm trying to figure out a way to do something like this, only as an open mic and have like the little boxes, the other poets on the screen. But I haven't quite figured that out yet. I don't know how many people are interested in it, and I don't know what kind of platform I have to use. Unfortunately, to use this platform, like you said, it's only 40 minutes a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And open mics for 40 minutes is, that's like 6 people and, and hosting duties, and that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's hard to host and actually run a show and run a video and tech at the same time. It just doesn't work very well.
I think if you're not aiming things at other screens like you are, it might be easier. But I mean, you've gone all out with the multimedia extravaganza.
I just play and I have no idea what I'm really doing.
and duct tape.
I needed the duct tape. And I'm going to ask Christine Swanberg to call me on the Puddin'head number. Because I got Christine Swanberg's phone number programmed and the other thing. So hopefully this phone's going to ring really soon with Christine Swanberg.
Right. And, I haven't started it yet because it's way too early, but, we moved the pentathlon to October last year, and that seemed to work out better for everybody. So we're probably going to do that again.
Okay.
I'll have to put my team back together and see what's up.
Mm-hmm.
Len and Bob and my judges. There's already been some smack talk, but between would-be contestants for next year.
Really?
Including Esteban Colon, who wants to compete. But he's answering the glove that's been thrown his way by Kristen Latour.
Okay. Who has won the pentathlon?
Oh God, lots of people.
Like, can you give me some winners?
Billy Tuttle.
Okay.
Twice. Dave Abatangelo. Jennifer Dodson.
Okay.
And Boglieri.
Uh-huh.
Donna Boyer.
And here we got a phone call. Hello?
I'm guessing it's for you.
Oh, Christine, this is you. Okay. Hi. No, it's me. Anyways, let me finish up with David and say hi to David. I know you don't know each other very well, then and then I'll let me finish up with him, and then we'll put you on. I'm gonna put you on speakerphone. There's Christine.
Hi, Christine.
And Christine has background noise.
Hi, David.
Hi, Christine. Got lots of background noise from you. Okay, Christine, turn off the feed, okay? Turn down the sound on.
Later than when I actually say it.
Yes, it is. But can you turn down the volume on your Facebook? Hey, anyways, David, I'm gonna do this with JJ's movie next week, and I want to. Can you come on the week after that, and we could talk some more?
Sure.
Here I am.
Okay. Okay.
I'd love to.
Okay. Say hi to Christine. Here she is.
Hi again, Christine.
Can you hear Buddha?
Oh yeah, but I have to turn it up to hear him.
Okay. I'm sorry
Hi,
about
David.
I'm sorry about the tech stuff. We're trying to figure all this out. And anyways, David, let me kick you off, and I'm going to talk to Christine for a while. We'll get you back in 2 weeks, and I'm going to send you an invitation to pop in a little bit later, like we talked about. Okay? Okay, let me talk to you later. Bye. Hi, Christine.
Hi, David.
Christine, we got lots of feedback coming out of you.
Hello, David.
Hi, that's better, but there's like 1,000 voices behind you.
It's very strange because the sound doesn't come out when we're talking at the same time.
Yes, it doesn't come out, but it comes out on the telephone, and we have this big echo going on. So can you turn that off, the sound off, or turn it down?
Okay.
Okay.
Is that better?
Oh, that's perfect.
Okay.
That's perfect. How are you? How are you?
Oh, I'm good, thank you. Everything considered.
Sorry about all the mess up at the start of this thing. I was trying to do some new tech stuff, and it was working very strangely. But I wanted to tell you, and I wanted to tell everybody in the audience that you were you had this book published by the Erie Street Press called, I believe, Tonight on This Late Road, which I have a copy on the other side of the room, but I'm too lazy to go and pick it up. I actually got a wall full of poetry that I could see right over there, and somewhere in there your book is. But anyways, I was impressed by that book, especially by that poem, and I realized that, wow, this is a real live poet that is like nearby, not that far away. So I guess I was a lot younger then.
Yeah,
Because
we all.
you were probably about 20 years old or so.
No, I was actually about 35.
Okay,
You keep forgetting
fine.
that I'm 70.
Yes, you were 35 there, and I was about 16. Okay,
So there you
okay,
are.
I was about 16, maybe 17, when I was at Left Bank Bookstall in Oak Park, and I ran across this book, Tonight on This Late Road by Christine Swanberg, and I was impressed by that book, and I said, wow, this is a real life poet. So you were the first real life poet that I like identified through a book, and I was able to meet later.
Well, that's actually quite astonishing to me, because I sort of feel that, living in Rockford as I do, sort of obscure, and the fact that we would get together later and you would actually end up doing 2 of my books is one of those little poetry miracles, you might say.
Well, you had sent me a manuscript. I think it was for the whatchamacallit, the red lacquered room or something.
It's funny you should mention that, because I'm actually going to read that poem tonight. I was thinking about that, yes. But that ended up getting published elsewhere.
Yeah,
yes.
you sent me the manuscript, and by the time I said yes to the manuscript, You already found another publisher, and I was kicking myself for years because of that.
Yeah, and you know, here's the crazy thing. How often does that happen to a poet? I mean, you know, when I think about that, it sort of blows my mind.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I was able to work with you later in life.
Yes, yeah, I think we started out around 2010 maybe, and then about 2012, if I've got this right, the Alleluia Tree came out, and then about 5 years later, the Wild Fruition came out.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been working together almost a decade.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
And both books are available on the Puddin'head website.
Absolutely.
So, and I need to I need to do some techie stuff here right now. Hey, can you read us a poem right now? While I sneak off and do some techie stuff?
I read the title poem of Tonight on This Late Road.
Because
that was one of the ones that you had enjoyed so much. And so I will. It's a little dated. There's a reference to Van Halen, so that tells you how long ago this was written.
Van Halen.
So this is Backroads.
He made me want to jump.
Yes, absolutely. He made me want to smoke cigarettes.
Okay.
I stopped that. Okay, Backroads. You like to be alone. You camp, watch moths burn and wonder. I see your brown corduroys, your boots leather-laced, your knees up, contemplating something I do not see. I drive my fast car on these back roads and know we would be friends. I like to be alone, but I have not become the moth, the fire, the dirt in my nails. But slowly, slowly, I am becoming this thin road, this fog, these sparse Midwest trees, and the crow. A shooting star pierces a field of wheat. There is a crater in my hand that wants to turn toward you. In our open palms, stars locked, and I cannot unlock them. The best I can do is the worst I can do. Accelerate, turn up the radio, drive home again. Tonight, on this late road, when the sky is past indigo and the stars are just there, I light a cigarette and blast the radio. Van Halen screams, jump. Go ahead and jump. My foot arches against the pedal. One hand grips the wheel. I race the yellow line and think again of you, having to get somewhere but not knowing where. Something like going home. Something about being lost in a galaxy, which may be lost in a universe. I like to think I know where I'm going. How hard for you, unable to say who you are or even pretend.
I always want to clap. I don't know if it's you're supposed to do that online on video or not. I think we're supposed to all be like really like sedate and cool on video. I'm not sure. I remember. Did you see the moon and the stars out? The moon and Venus out the last couple
yes,
days?
And as a matter of fact, I think it was 2 or 3 nights ago, Jupiter and Saturn had aligned as well. So it's spectacular. It's straight across the horizon, which you almost never see.
Uh-huh.
And then, of course, the moon itself was this tiny little sliver of a moon. It was really cool.
And I remember, one of my favorite readings that you did was that evening we had gone out to that prairie. And
yes, Wilson's Prairie, way out on Route 20. Mm-hmm.
That was like one of the like last original prairies or something in Illinois.
Yes, it's pretty much untouched. I mean, hardly anyone even knows about it. It was just a wild thing to even be invited to do that.
Uh-huh. We walked.
I know some people that are involved with Severson Dells and Natural Land Institute, and so that's how that all kind of came about.
Well, we walked around and had a tour and looked at all the plants looked at all the plants that were going on there, and they pointed out the different types of prairie flowers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then right at sunset, right, it was the day that the sun was setting and the moon was rising at the exact same moment. And that was the moment.
That was the whole idea.
That was the moment you started reading your
that,
poetry.
They wanted a poem because they thought that was such an interesting thing that, you know, that at that moment they would both be pretty much on the horizon, opposite of each other, and visible at the same time. It was wild, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was wild. It was wild. And you also do a lot of stuff. That Nature Institute you mentioned.
Yes.
We did a reading.
For the last 5 years, I've been working a lot with Natural Land Institute, and we came out with a little book called Natural Voices, with eyes opened wide, and it's been a really fun adventure. And surprisingly, it's one of those things where the book sold out the first night. And they actually went into a small second printing. Can you believe that? That never happens, but it did.
Yes, it does happen sometimes.
Yes.
But but I remember we did that one reading out on another prairie. And
oh yes, and that's Nigrin. That's actually Nigrin. I think it's called wetland, and that's part of the. That's under the auspices of the Natural Land Institute. And what's so wonderful about that, you know, as you know, I really love it when poetry intersects with something else and isn't like just its own little clique. And I think you remember how very well received these readings are. I mean, I think there were probably a good, I don't know, I want to say 50 people. All the chairs were taken, and, you know, the backdrop was wonderful. And I'll never forget when Wilda Morris read one night, she was reading a poem about a blue heron, and exactly the moment that she was reading that poem, a blue heron flew in back of her, and we could all see it. It was quite amazing.
But also,
a moment of magic.
There was also that one that we thought that there was going to be a huge storm.
There was a huge storm, and then there was an enormous rainbow.
It was
enormous. That a different time?
It was an enormous double rainbow.
Wasn't that amazing? Yeah. Of course, the problem was it was blowing the tent away.
Yeah.
It wasn't doing much for the reading, but it was a spectacular storm, no doubt about it.
It was a spectacular storm. It was a spectacular reading. Everything that people read was about nature. Why do you write so many nature poems?
Well, it's a little... because I don't feel that I am above nature. I feel that I'm part of it. You know, I feel in some ways sort of Native American in the sense that the animals and the birds, you know how the birds are in my backyard, they're practically tame. I just consider them equals. And so that's the world I live in. Even though I don't live way out in the country, I'm very, very at home with all of these creatures, and I love them dearly. So I write about it because it's what I think is really important, and it's what, especially the whole idea of returning to the garden. One of the things I find interesting about this pandemic, not to be negative, but is that not that I would ever wish this on anyone at all, so nobody out there, please don't take this the wrong way, but ironically, it's helping air pollution. And ironically, things like pandas and different kinds of animals are flourishing because the human beings are not intruding on them as much. And so, that's just something I find interesting.
I think we're going to have a totally different world from the animals once we okay, I'm having some more tech problems here. Once we, actually go and tech problems. Tech problems. We got tech problems. Okay, we got tech problems. I'm not sure what they are. Okay.
As in excess noise?
No, not any excess noise. I think that I lost my next guest.
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're here?
I'm here.
Where are you? Hi, you're here.
That's a very good question. I'm here.
Okay, I don't see you. Okay, Christine, give us
I don't either.
Christine, give us a poem. I'm going to try to figure out what's going on here.
Okay. Well, since you mentioned the prairie, I have a little very old poem about being left behind and dumped by a boyfriend in overjoyous sun. For good, I knelt in prairie grass, bending in your leaving, like the long clumps of asters or wind-blown tassels that scorched Indian summer before the terrifying sun, burning behind the glacial moor. Think of me as one who begs just once, then gives her grief to the sweet black earth that cradles November sleep. Think of me as one who sleeps in the prairie, makes a pallet of wide grief, makes friends with winter, learns to wash her hands with ice. Think of me as a fallow field where redhawks glide and owls find mice with ease. Think of me as one who burns the prairie, whose courage may be slow, but wide and complete.
Yay!
I don't think that's a poem you know.
No, I don't think I ever heard that one.
No. I thought I'd surprise you with it.
How long ago did you write that?
Oh, well, actually, it was in the Red Lacquer collection. So that would have been about, it would have shown up in that collection about 2010, which means that I could have written it anywhere 5 years until then, because it takes me about that long to get a collection together. But then I like big collections, so, you know. So I'd say it's at least 15 years old, maybe longer.
We just had a tech problem. We had the screen frozen for a little bit. Because I didn't, I got to monitor this a little bit better. But I'd like to bring on our next guest so you and him could talk a little bit.
That sounds great.
Okay, here's our next guest. I need to pick him up and put him in front of the screen. And I think I need to do that and that. And I think that you might know this guy.
I do.
And I think he could talk now. Jared, are you with us?
I am with you. Can you see?
Hi, Jared.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Last time I saw you, we were outside of Asheville at the Poetry Rendezvous.
That's right. That was a wonderful gathering. One of the few festivals I try to get to every year.
Now you guys, the Poetry Rendezvous, who runs the Poetry Rendezvous?
It's run different. Well, the long-term sponsor is Michael Hathaway, who is the editor of Chiron Review, and he and Kyle Laws, very good poet from Pueblo, Colorado, and a few other people have been running it for, what is it now, something like 25, 30 years?
That's been around for 30 years?
Yeah, something like that. And each year, poets from around the country come together and read and talk about poetry for 3 days or so, and get drunk together and come up with great new ways of writing. And then we all scatter to whatever parts of the country.
Jared, can you turn down the audio from Facebook there?
I don't have Facebook on.
Okay, we're getting like a feedback from somewhere. Okay, now it's gone. Can we? Okay. Huh.
I seem to be gone too.
No, you're still on screen.
Okay.
As long as you talk, okay, the way this is set up is if you talk, you're on screen.
Okay.
So as long as you're talking, you're on screen.
Okay, I have to keep talking. There I am. Okay. Yeah, it's been going on for quite a while, and some very famous poets show up and read there. Everybody, we have a couple of workshops, and that's on a rotating basis. The chair of the festival is on a rotating basis each year, and it's held in different cities each year.
Christine, how many times have you been there?
I think I've only gone twice. I went to the one in Taos, New Mexico, 3 or 4 years ago, and that was kind of exciting. And then last year I went to the one that was outside of Asheville in Black Mountain. That had a lot of vibes. I tend to go when there's some place that I really want to see, some place where it's being held, because it's usually kind of a long way from here. So it makes it really fun when you can make a little vacation out of it too.
Absolutely.
So where did you two meet?
Oh, we go way back. I think it was when Jared was president of Poets and Patrons, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
And
that's right.
I think I gave a workshop there, I want to say at least 20 years ago, probably even longer than that. And we kind of got to chatting, and then I had him over to my house when I was doing more formal poetry salons, and I think we had a little luncheon, and he did a presentation for the group and was very well received. And so then our paths just have crossed off and on here and there. So I think I have most of your books, maybe even all of them. I'm talking to Jared now on this. So that's kind of the history as I remember it.
That's right. And then we haven't seen each other after I moved out to Colorado for a number of years until we ran into each other in Taos for the poetry festival there. And that was very nice.
Jared, how many books do you have?
14 right now. Hunting for a publisher for the 15th.
Wow.
14.
Oh, that might be some kind of record.
Well, no. Although there are 2 points I'm rather proud of there. I have gotten those books without being the editor of a publishing house myself, and they've all been published by commercial nonprofit presses. Nothing I paid for.
Are you still
That's nice.
Are you still involved in editing the New York Quarterly?
No, I'm not. I was involved with them for many years. I was on the advisory board of their founding editor, William Packard, the late William Packard. We were very good friends. And I left them when I moved from New York to Chicago. But then a couple years later, I rejoined as a board member and an advisory board member for Raymond Hammond, who is the current editor. And worked pretty hard at it for a number of years and enjoyed it greatly and learned a lot from it. But I needed more time for my own writing. So I stepped down from that about, 4 years ago.
Uh-huh. What was your last book? Collected Longer Works out of Michigan?
No, the last book I had was That's How It Is, which is from Spartan Press, and it's a branch of Spartan Press. It's called Stubborn Mule Press. The book you're thinking of was my collected poems, 1971 to 2011, and that was done by the New York Quarterly Press.
New York Quarterly Press. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Could you give us a poem?
I could give you a poem.
Okay, give us a poem. I'm gonna get somebody on the line.
Okay. I'll give you a poem I just finished. This is done just yesterday. A boy on a long dirt road. It is the time darkness rises from the earth, wades through the leaves of fescue grass, dapples the dandelions growing wild, and filters through magenta tulips, climbs stealthily the deep burrows lining the trunks of cottonwoods, wrapping their towering crowns that pull back into the wind of summer. A boy walks.
Okay, Jared's reading a poem right now, but as soon as he's done,
as dusty clouds
is it going good?
his feet at each step, and it too is dark and growing deeper. There is probably a well-lit house just beyond the next hill, the next turn.
Let's see how the speakerphone is going to sound too. I'm going to click right on when Jared's done.
Catch his toe upon a broken root, but he keeps on.
Okay.
There is no turning back. And that is when darkness finds voice, as rosy finches return to their nests, and deer move along their hidden paths, and an owl somewhere begins its search. That is where
as soon as Jared's done, I'm going to put you on speakerphone.
Aware of how the night
okay, I don't know if the audience can hear me or not. It's going to be a surprise if you're on for everybody.
And it is then he fills his lungs.
So when you come on, just say, "Hi, this is Tom Roby."
And his steps resume on the hill that rose before him.
Just say hi and be on for a couple minutes, and then we'll go on with the show. Okay. So as soon as he's done, you know Jared's does really long poems.
What he will do somehow.
Are you guys watching? Okay, here we go. We're gonna put you on.
That's a kind of poetry where I feel we have to develop a new.
Okay, hold on. You ready?
New way of looking at things that reflects the kind of tension our society is under right now, and perhaps has both a strong and yet a compassionate tone that feels the agony and the hope of the time we're in.
Okay, special guest, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, other special guest. Hold on. Technical problems here.
Please enter a number followed by the pound.
Okay, I lost our special guest.
You lost Jared?
No, I had another special guest that I lost.
Oh.
Okay, let me try to get our special guest back on. Okay.
Jared, can you hear
Hello?
me?
Yes, I can. Hi.
I'm going to try to put you back on.
Oh, here we are.
Here we go.
So
Hi, are you on?
What you were saying
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Voice showing the agony of
you know what?
the way we are living in so many ways, and I find that very challenging to write from the heart and not to write polemics during this time. Do you find that to be challenging too?
I do. Can I read one more which addresses that specifically? And it's because we have to write listening to the people, what they're saying, and we're all in it. This is called There Is a Song in All Poetry. There is a song in my poetry. Every line, every stanza, every poem. Each poem an open aria in another. And they change one to the next, and 1 year to the next they change. One book becomes another, and each book becomes another song, the song of workers and looms and chains and sweat and heartbreak. But there is always the song, there is always the love, the sweet whisper of sun on mountain meadows, the deer pausing to drink at the stream, and the stream with its magenta flowers finding its way among dark stones that hold the night tight in their sides. And it is always so in each poem we write. There is a song that sings of us and of our homes and lives. There is a song that keeps us going, a song that has filled our literature and raised our institutions. We have raised our institutions with, and that we sing to our children each night. It changes through the years, but it's there. I have not found how to write this song for the cold waves that rise around our ankles now, for the kind of sands that wrap about our feet at this time and in this dark place, but I will do so. Already I can hear the murmurs of others learning how.
Wow, I think I'm supposed to applaud.
Well, I think what I'm trying to say there is we learn to write for this time by listening carefully to everyone else. Listening to, because they're trying too. But poetry is a song of communication of the culture. And
well, I've always enjoyed how your poetry digs so deep and has such a melodious flow to it. And I really admire that you kind of let it speak for itself. And I don't know when you stopped writing like more personal poems and sort of got into this more melodious flow of things. Is that something that you consciously did, or it just evolved?
I think it's a kind of evolution. I think that people write with different voices at different times in their lives. They change. If you're serious about poetry, you will do everything you can with the voice you have, and that voice will change. It will develop over time.
Well, it's interesting to me. I had sort of and I don't know if I'd call it a dry spell, but I wasn't writing quite as much as I used to. I kind of felt like I'd done an awful lot of writing. And with the pandemic, I was just, because you read a poem about kind of picking up on the vibrations, in a sense, of what was going on, I just was looking through this folder, and I realized that I'd written like 7 or 8 poems in the last 5 or 6 weeks, trying to express what it's been like, that having the sorrow and even some despair, but also some warm and humorous moments as well, and mixing those two things together in poetry. But now I think it's getting harder because it's going on and on. So it's just very interesting to me what gets a poet going, and how things change because of what's going on around you.
That's absolutely true, and I don't think it's. I mean, a poet does go through dry spells. I go through, when I finish a book, I go through a dry spell of a year or more usually, where I'm trying to assimilate changes in my life and find a language for those changes, or new visions and new understandings. I don't think you can force yourself out of that.
No, and just to be on a practical note, that's when I find it's a really good time to submit the work or to get out and do readings. It's like this other person, this other skill takes over. I call it because I'm a woman, but I call it the secretary. The secretary takes over for a while and starts organizing and getting things done and sending things out, and more organizational kinds of things. And I know that if I don't do that, if I don't refresh myself by using that other part of being a poet in this particular world, I could actually I could probably go off the deep end if I just kept writing and writing and didn't stop. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. An awful lot of poetry is communication. It's kind of a song of the spirit. You have to communicate it, and you don't know if you're communicating it unless you're taking time to talk to an audience at a reading, sitting down and talking with other poets, reading other poets. My goodness, reading them is so important. Learning new ones all the time. But yeah, the secretarial part, as you put it, is important because you have to know, are people reading your poem the way you meant it, or have you gotten sloppy? Are you using cliched ideas that are new to you, or are they new to other people as well?
Well, and I find that it's important for me, at least. And I don't think it's necessarily important for all poets. I'm just speaking strictly for myself. But I think it's important that what I'm saying reflects what other people are probably feeling as well. So that it's not just a personal voice, but it's also partly a collective voice. And that's one of the things I was hoping was happening in this series that I'm doing on, living through the coronavirus. And the poems are not really filled with despair, and they're not particularly dark, although there are moments of that. Because when I look around, I see the same thing that you do. People really rising to the occasion, and in Rockford, it's not a metropolis, so to speak. So there's a lot of dog walking, and gardening, and just people out in their yards and neighbors talking to each other from across the street. And I kind of want to reflect that part of it as well.
Yes.
How is it out in Colorado?
Do poets have a job to do? Does poets have a job to do
like
right
David.
now?
That was David. Yeah. I don't know. I think there are different kinds of poetry. I think maybe a poet has to do the job for himself or herself first. The poet has to find their own voice built from their own experience and those of people who are important to them. The poetry is a morality of art.
One of the poems that I wrote during this time was kind of in answer to your question, David. Do poets have a job to do? And I would add to that, and if so, is it very important in a time like this? And I was really thinking about that because I have friends that are working at food banks and doing things that, because I live with people who are high risk, I cannot be in that position to expose other people. And the poem is called, I'm not going to read the whole thing, I'm just going to tell you about a little bit, Confessions During the Age of Corona and the National Poetry Month, because I think it's so odd that those two things would be occurring at the same time. And it begins with, poetry is the mouth beneath the mask, and then it goes from there.
Wow.
I think the things that we're not saying and the things that are hidden, and what poetry can do and what it can't do, it's a balm but not a cure, that sort of thing. So I was thinking a lot about that. So funny you asked that question, Dave.
It's something I've been thinking about because I'm trying to use poetry to fight despair in the world. I mean, I think that's something that's really important for us to do.
Well, that you are the one who more or less made me get on Facebook, which I have since learned to love. And I've never really posted poems on Facebook. It just was not my thing. But during this particular season of Corona, I have been posting things that I've written, and I have gotten so many wonderful responses, mostly from non-writers, but occasionally from writers. That really thrills me because what it says to me is that it's speaking to to people who are not necessarily like me. They don't necessarily have an MFA in writing, but they're getting what's being said here, and it's uplifting them. And then people are saying that, or they're understanding it, and they were glad that they read it. And never in my wildest dreams did I think, posting poems on Facebook would be so rewarding. And I think it's for exactly that reason, because I think people they're searching for something other than a lot of politics, because everybody's so sick of that now. And it's like, well, there's not much more we can do. We all know how we really feel. And poetry takes you to a place that is more original than any kind of a party line or any kind of a complaint, although you can complain in a poem too. So that's been a real surprise to me during this time.
I think if you can carry that, I absolutely agree with you on it. You can carry it a little further when you realize that in our day-to-day lives and in listening to the media, we use just a handful of words each day. We don't really think about them. When the coronavirus crisis started, and even today, of course, then it's different. We're trying to think of something new, even in the media. But generally, people will relate to each other on a commercial sense for the most part. Like, what do you want from me? What will it cost? What can I sell you? What can I buy from you? How's the weather? And that doesn't even begin to touch the complexity and majesty of what a human is and of human experience. And poets create new language that tries to that makes people think in new ways. So as you said, it takes them away from the media and allows them to discover themselves.
And what I'm finding surprising and delightful and refreshing about this is that I know that many of the people that are on my Facebook, former teachers or former students, a number of my Italian relatives, they think of poetry as a sort of Hallmark card thing. They want either a little rhyme or a platitude or something, very predictable. And of course, most of us try not to do that the best we can anyway. But that's what's been surprising me. They've been responding to this even though there are no platitudes in it, even though I don't even use words like despair and hope in the poems, And so I don't know, I think it's just been an eye-opener to me that if, as it was what Obama used to say, regular folks, if regular folks could hear this kind of thing or see this kind of thing more often, I think it would be really good for everybody.
Hey, folks.
So, I think, it's been a revelation to me that the poetry has been so well received on Facebook. It has.
That's one of the wonderful things. It gets back. You go all the way back to Walt Whitman. He says, I sing myself, but the I there was all the people who were not poets, who were workers, who were housewives, young men, soldiers. Most of the world and most of human experience takes place outside of the classrooms, outside of the MFA and whatnot. You may go to your MFA program to learn the craft.
Hey, folks.
You go
Jared and Christine. I'd like to bring a visitor online if I could. So we're going to have a visitor dropping in to see us.
Fantastic.
And he should be on in a second. He should be here in a second.
I'm right there, ain't I, Dave?
Yes, you're here.
Yes, you are. Hey, how you doing, Buddha?
I'm all right, Jared. Long time no see, man.
Yeah, fantastic.
I love the chapeau.
David, do you think it's important to write and inspire people during these times?
You know, it's been tough because I've been blocked for months now, and I've written a couple of things, and I don't know if it's our job to inspire or maybe entertain, diverge a little bit. I think that we're all stuck in the coronavirus rut, and we're looking for distractions away from it. I've been watching romantic comedies, for instance, just to get my mind off of that. Right? I think we need more humor, more